Hello there, welcome to my poster. My name is Karen Greenhaus. I am a math instructor. I've been a teacher for 31 years and I work at Drexel University as an adjunct professor currently, and I also do some consulting with educational companies and schools, and so I'm really interested in technology. So that is what my poster session will be about and what my poster documents are below. I'm going to be discussing this free web-based dynamic math tool called ClassPad.net and kind of showing you some ways that it supports student engagement and discovery. So there are a lot of tools out there and many that are free. So you're probably familiar with GeoGebra or Desmos. I used to use Sketchpad all the time, which was not free, but these are tools that are great, but I have started using ClassPad.net more because of its versatility and its ability to do everything in one place. So I can really have students look at multiple representations using the same tool without having to leave the environment, and everything's not crowded. I have unlimited space. So that's sort of my biggest reason for sticking with ClassPad. So I just want to share in this poster demo some of the brief things that I can do and the best ways to show some examples. And then I encourage you to look at the images and pictures below, because I go into a little bit more detail. You'll see a little bit more information about some of the capabilities. I'm never going to be able to explain all of it, but if you come back to my live session, I will be able to answer questions and I can do some more specific demonstrations. So this is just a quick how-to. So it's a free tool. It is web-based, ClassPad.net. And you can just start exploring, which means it's great that if you just want, hey, students, get out a calculator, let's do some calculations, or let's look at a graph of something, or let's collect some data and make a graph. You can do that very quickly, no account needed. The advantage of creating an account is that you can save everything you do. And so as an instructor, I create lessons that I then share on my Blackboard site with my students. They open it up and then they work on it and then they send back their results. So it's a great tool. So creating an account's nice. Again, free. I'm going to just go into the accounts. When you hit login, I'm already registered. It's going to open up the document. And this is what ClassPad looks like. It's a blank screen, and that's the beauty of it. It's what math do you want to do? It doesn't force you to make a graph. It doesn't force you to put a function in. It doesn't force you to do geometry. You can do whatever you want. And so if I click anywhere, here's my options: calculations, graphing, geometry, data, so all of your statistical analysis, sequences. You can even do financial things. It's a whole list of financial templates. Let's just pull that up. You can do all these different financial things. And then finally, text. So you can write directions. And so this is just text. And you can put math lines in here, so I can actually use templates. So it's just versatile, and these are all sticky. So whatever I'm working in, I can arrange my paper to be what I want. So I can have some directions, I can have a graph, they do the graph, they write their explanations in another text sticky. So it's just a very versatile tool. So the best way for me to show this of how amazing it is, and it's unlimited space, so I can keep going, and that's what I really like about it. I'm not, if I want to do a graph and statistics next to each other, my space doesn't get scrunched as in some of the tools. I actually can work however I want, arrange it how I want. So let me just show you what I mean by that. So I'm going to just pull up some activities that are already done, which I think are good examples of some of the features. And again, I suggest you look at some of the images that I've provided in my poster and some of the links, and you can explore a bit more. But here's just an example. This is something I did the other day for a blog post, and this is an example of text that's describing what we're going to do. It's talking about the Fibonacci sequence. They actually can create the sequence. And so this is that sequence tool, which is this one right here. This is what it looks like, and it can be moved. Everything sticks where you want it, and they can actually create, you know, a recursion or an explicit. So if I'm doing this, and notice this is, we're going to seed this with the Fibonacci sequence here, and I get that sequence tab, and now I can put in my math that I want. And now when I hit enter, it's going to show me that sequence. I could even graph it, and obviously I can change this table to show more, but it's a sequence tab. So I just did sequences, but now I'm ready to go do something else. I've noticed something. And so now we're going to go down and look at how this Fibonacci sequence appears in nature. So notice this now is a geometry sticky that has an image in it. So you can upload images, you can do things on top of the images. So if you're in geometry, you can do things like, let's just get the circle out here. I could see if there's any relationship. And it looks like a sand dollar has 5 points. They all make a circle. They all end the same. They have the same radius. So interesting things like that. So you can do things on top of graphs. You can then collect data. You can do stickies, measure angles, those types of things. So just an example of the versatility of this tool, because I can be doing geometry. I did sequences. I could throw up a graph if I need to. Here they're going to collect some data and do some calculations. So I could pull up the calculation tool and do some measurements and define, see if I have the golden ratio. Here's another example. Sliders are a big thing. You can do sliders in both the graphing and the geometry. So you can do sliders for dilations. And you can define, this is a calculate sticky where they defined a function. So anytime I use f of x, this is the function that's being used. And so everything's connected. So see these little things here. So now I defined these functions, and now in the graphing menu, I'm using those functions to create some animation. And that's done by using sliders. So the sliders are just variables that I've come up with. And if I change the variable, it moves these creatures. And so then you can explore, how can you make the fish always be in front of the shark? Because right now you're going to see the fish is behind the shark. So what could we do to change this animation? And how do we work with the parameters, slow it down, those types of things. But sliders and graphing, that happens. And then finally, I'm trying to keep this short, you can add in animated pings where you can kind of make it a little more engagement because students are looking at, say, candy being developed. And now we're going to collect some information about that candy, and they're going to count and collect data and do some statistical plots. And I have seeded things. And so notice this is a statistical plot. I selected the columns, and now I have all these statistical options for me. So I could do, a scatter plot, and I could see if that's the best representation for this data, or maybe, well, it doesn't make any sense, does it? So I really want to do just B here. There we go. And I might want to do a box and whisker plot or a histogram. So different things that I could do with each element of ClassPad.net. I have the capability to do whatever math I want all in one space, arrange it how I want, so students are engaged because they can see the connection. So it's a great tool. Please come back and see my live demo. I'm happy to answer questions, happy to show you specific things, show you where all these free activities live. They're available for anybody to use, and help you get started. So I'd love to talk to you. So come back and visit me on my session day. Thanks.